Hello and welcome to the Philippines. Going to go over a little bit of Philippine news update. What is out there? There are more questions than there are answers at this point in time, late in 2021. But we're going to dive into some of that, and I'm walking from Mandaue City area, not so far from J Center Mall. I'm on Hernan Cortez Street. And I'm going down here. I'm going to hit S Fortuna Avenue, and I'm going to take a right. That's a major road. This is a very busy road as well. Got a friend that lives up here. I was up visiting him, and going to go over some of the recent things going on here. And I'm also going to point out a few sites along the way, give you a little bit of an idea what's out here. And this is one of the streets that much of the way. You can see the white line there. It's kind of like a sidewalk. It's relatively obstruction free and relatively flat and easy enough to walk on. Motorbikes, bicycles like to use this area as well. As you can see, this guy right up here, he's just sitting there texting or waiting for somebody. Anyway, let's get into a little bit of some of the news with the latest variant of the virus. As I think probably all of you know, this is a little family clinic here. Travel restrictions have been going back up all over the world, including the Philippines. And I will sit down next week and do an interview and a discussion about that. With JR from JRC Visa Consultancy, and he's got a new YouTube channel where he puts out regular news, and I will introduce that information to you as well. I will leave a link to his channel in the description of this video, in fact. But anyway, let's get down to the travel. As far as tourist travel, pretty much has been cut off. About a month ago, they came out with an announcement they were going to start allowing certain types of, with certain requirements, certain restrictions, they were going to allow certain tourist travel into the Philippines starting early December. Then this variant came on the world stage, and they quickly backed off of that and pretty much shut all that down, and it's kind of a wait and see type attitude with much of the world. Travel is shutting down, countries are shutting down who they will let in their country. Even travel within some countries is being restricted greatly. What's happening in Australia? It's turning into quite the tyrannical, authoritarian type of country. Gosh, I've watched some of the news coming out of there, and they're setting up detention camps for people who are suspected of being close contacts, even are being put in these camps as punishment. And yeah, it's gotten so crazy. Lots of that kind of crazy news. And Canada is doing some of the same thing. They've got detention camps. How much worse can it get? You know, I think these countries just going to have to learn to live with it, because even the pharmacy companies who are just making money hand over fist, as they say, are saying, oh, this is going to just keep recurring. You know, we have been here before. I'm listening to a book. I download a couple books every month, and I'm listening to a book that gets into the history of disease, primarily from the 1800s on forward. A history of diseases and the history of vaccines, and it is very, very interesting. It talks about how during the Industrial Revolution in much of the Western world, and I presume in much of the other parts of the world, the sanitation was improved greatly. Drinking water was starting to be purified. sanitation for toilets and such, and sewage systems were being improved greatly around the world. And at the same time, the medical community was coming out with different types of vaccines. And anyway, very interesting, the role of all these different items. And the name of that book, Dissolving Illusions. Quite interesting. At first it starts to sound like anti-vax, but it pretty much is a recounting of the historical facts. Very interesting. So we have been here before with many of the emotions, the government's getting involved with laws and forcing certain things to happen. Anyway, here's the corner down here. Metro grocery store. Been in there a few times. No, they have I'm not going to get into that. They've got a sign outside about anybody over 65, under 18 not allowed in. Anyway, yeah, look at this. I've seen motorbikes with a lot more than this tied on there, but in fact, it almost tipped over while I was talking to these guys. They lost their focus for a second and tie that on. Boy, I'd hate to. It's a lot of weight. That's you just get a little bit off balance and there it goes. Now we are in what's called the Tri-Cities of the Cebu City metropolitan area. There's Cebu City, Mandaue City, where the main immigration office is. Across the bridge on Mactan Island, you've got Lapu Lapu City, the Tri-Cities. And what is confusing is that each of those cities tends to come up with their own, they don't coordinate with each other, they come up with their own restrictions and requirements. For instance, Mandaue just put in effect a deal where if you're not vaccinated, you're not supposed to be able to go into malls and many other places. That's an issue because the foreigners, they need to go to immigration in the mall. And there's an immigration office over on Mactan Island in Lapu Lapu as well, in all over there, Island Mall, I believe, Gaisano Island Mall. And they need to, so I think there are probably, there's leeway there. They're going to allow you to go in and do the business that you have to do, I believe, or you can use somebody like JR, an agent, registered with the immigration office to process your items. Harley Davidson shop here. I've done a video there. For those of you who don't know, I've been here since 2015, 3 trips, and lived most of my time in Cebu City. Guys in the malls would grab me, say, "Come and look at my condo." The real estate agents, and I would take video of these condominiums. So I have a lot of videos of condominiums, of some subdivisions. Been over to Bohol, over to Bacolod, over to Iloilo, and done some travel videos, cost of living videos, all that sort of thing. So check out my other over 1,000 videos. And if you'd be so kind to hit the thumbs up and even comment, even just say hello or whatever, hi. That helps the algorithms, helps promote the channel, and certainly can use all the help I can get. I will be doing, I've got a number of videos coming up, I'm just about finished with a video on property. Probably 2 different videos, one on a general view of property, some of the forces affecting property costs here in the Philippines. And probably the first video I do will be about rental costs and how they have been affected. Some of the condo projects and what the cost used to be before this crisis and what they are now, how many of them have dropped. And what you get, a little bit about what you get for what you pay. And anyway, one nice thing about walking and just the air pollution out here is that They've gotten rid of a lot of the black smoke belching jeepneys, and it's only mostly the cleaner jeepneys, although I did see one on this walk that was putting out too much of the black exhaust. But most of them have been cleaned up a bit, and they've got a lot more newer, modern buses out there, replaced a lot of the jeepneys. Not only in the Philippines. Best thing about the Philippines, the friendly Filipinos. And I talk to a lot of people. I say hello, good morning, good afternoon to a lot of people. You know, you're the foreigner. They don't know who you are. And I've had a number of Filipino friends that walk with me over the years, and they always think, oh, you have a lot of friends. You're saying, they think I know personally all these people I say hello to. And they finally realize that, no, that's just what I do. I say hello, and it gives me a better outlook on life. It gives them a better outlook on life and foreigners. You know, we present a picture into the foreign personalities, and if you're friendly, you just make it that much easier for yourself and others. If they have a bad experience with a foreigner, then that sits in their head, and once you've created that bad impression with somebody, it's hard to remove that. I know a couple of guys who have gotten into situations where they became argumentative and created some issues. Your AUKUS, they still require these shields. The big debate about that a couple of years ago. Motorbike riding company, and anyway, they're required still. They're the only ones I think required. There's another company in town, Joyride. I don't see them very often. I believe they're still operating. That has those shields strapped on. Supposedly, it's going to protect the rider if the driver has some virus. But I think just knowing a little bit about aeronautics, I think that would actually cause the air to swirl around into the face of the rider instead of deflecting it. As far as expat living in the Philippines, I've been able to go about my life. There are stores like the S&R store, which is like a membership store similar to Costco in many parts of the world. They said, Mandaue has a new law. If you're not vaccinated, you're not allowed in. So they put me away. Well, there's Lander's store, which is almost the same thing in Cebu City. And I was able to go in there and stock up on a whole lot of stuff. So if things tighten up, I've pretty much got everything I need, probably for a couple months for the most part, or longer. And something I did with supply chain issues around the world. More and more I'm seeing things out of stock, so I'm stocking up on things. And the fact that these governments, you never know what they're going to do from week to week. So the poor businesses, resorts, how can they plan? They can't. How do you plan on how much inventory to order? There is more construction going on, a little bit more construction. This is a condominium, I guess. The guy told me it was going to be a new condominium. Anyway, life goes on. I guess I'm glad I'm stuck here rather than some other place. As I watch news from around the world, there are crazy requirements, restrictions in much of the world. So anyway, I'm going to end this here. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.